Radha Krishna Foundation presents Samarpan, an offering of service.
Davan Bihari Lal ki jai, Sadguru Maharaj ki jai, Shri Ganeshaya Namah, Shri Saraswataye Namah. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama, 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. In the 5th book of Mahabharata, there is a sloka that tells us of 8 qualities, any of which a man possesses, a person possesses, affords him the opportunity in life to receive great admiration. Hear those 8 things. Ashtau guna purusham deepayanti pragya cha kaulyam chadamaha shrutam cha parakramascha bahubashita cha Dhanam yata shakti kritagyata cha. Mahabharata. The sloka tells us that any of these 8 qualities shed luster upon man. These are wisdom, noble birth, self-restraint, prowess, moderation of speech, charity to the best of one's ability, and the last word says kritajnata, meaning gratitude. So let's focus on this for a few moments. Gratitude is the understanding that life owes us nothing, and all the good I have is actually a gift. That should also be accompanied with an awareness that nothing that we have can and should be taken for granted. However, quite often we find ourselves doing something else. It's called griping. Even though we didn't plan to, more times than not, we end up doing it. Think about it. We plan it to our family to go out to a nice dinner. Maybe it's our weekly dinner, maybe it's our monthly dinner. And this is supposed to be a very pleasant outing for the entire family. When we get there, we find ourselves complaining about many things. The server's language barrier. The table is too close to the walkway. The plates are too old, etc. While we're missing the pleasure for which we went. Not often we stop to ask ourselves that is this situation something that we can act upon? Is it bad enough to complain about, but not bad enough to do something about? So if the answer is the latter, then why complain about it if we're not going to do anything about it? So if we're not going to do anything about it, then why complain about it if we're not going to do anything about it? So if we're not going to do anything about it, then why complain about it if we're not going to do anything about it? So if we're not going to do anything about it, then why complain about it if we're not going to do anything about it? So if we're not going to do anything about it, then why complain about it if we're not going to do anything about it? So if we're not going to do anything about it, then why complain about it if we're not going to do anything about it? So if we're not going to do anything about it, then why complain about it if we're not going to do anything about it? So if we're not going to do anything about it, then why complain about it if we're not going to do anything about it? So if we're not going to do anything about it, then why complain about it if we're not going to do anything about it? So if we're not going to do anything about it, then why complain about it if we're not going to do anything about it? So if we're not going to do anything about it, then why complain about it if we're not going to do anything about it? So if we're not going to do anything about it, then why complain about it if we're Let's don't work ourselves up. Let it be. Especially if someone is close by. But usually we say venting, when we vent our frustrations, it makes us feel better, right? Studies have shown that complaining or listening to people complaining has a negative effect on the complainer and the one listening. So the better choice, of course, just enjoy. Dr. Robert Emmons, world-leading scientific researcher on gratitude from the University of California, says that gratitude effectively increases happiness and reduces depression. He says that gratitude heals, it energizes, and it transforms lives. So a good place to start is an appreciation for ourselves, to begin with, in this world, the beauty that we see in front of the mirror, the functionality of the body. We can start there to be grateful for all those things. Living in the moment, not in the scars of the past or the anxiety or the uncertainty of the future. Those are all reasons to practice gratitude. Sit and assess yourself. Be grateful for all the things you have around you, for family, for health, for children, for your job, for your house or your apartment, for the skills you have, the friends you have, the accomplishments you have enjoyed in life, for all the plans you have for the future that you're so excited about. All those are reasons to be grateful. Or we can ask someone or ask some questions like, what have I given? You can also ask yourself, what have I received? How have I caused difficulty in the life of others? And would I want that? If you did, would I want that for myself? We will easily find out that we have received a whole lot more than we have given. Yet another reason to be grateful. But we're always thinking about the next thing. We leave no time for introspection. No time to appreciate the gifts of the present time. Want to know how to appreciate the present? And in whatever situation you are in life, here's a good place to start. Count all the things you have or that you enjoy on a daily basis that money cannot buy. The air you breathe, the unfoldment of a brand new day, the rising of the sun that brings so many different new possibilities, including medically. Udrayana Aditya Krimina Hantu Atharva Ved 232:1 says that a rising sun has healing chemicals. So looking briefly into the rising sun can help our eyesight. It can help us physically. It heals us. The rising sun can heal you from the outside in. But appreciating, being grateful for the rising sun can heal you from the inside out. There was a blind boy who sat on the steps of a building with a hat by his feet. He held up a sign which read, "I am blind. Please help." But there were only a few coins in his hat. Spare change from folks as they hurriedly go about their business. A man walked by. He saw the boy, gave him a few coins into his hat. But then he took the boy's sign. He turned it around and he wrote some words. He gave the sign back to the boy and turned it around. There were some new words there. Soon, the hat began to fill up. A lot more people were suddenly giving him money, giving the boy more coins in his hat. By the time it got to afternoon, the man who would change his sign returned to see how things were going with this young man. Upon approaching, the boy recognized his voice and asked him, "Were you the person who changed my sign this morning?" "Yes," the man said. "What did you write on it, please?" The man said, "I wrote only the truth. I said what you said, but in a different way." "What is that, please?" The man said, I wrote, "Today is a beautiful day, but I cannot see it." The first sign simply said the boy was blind, while the second sign conveyed to everyone walking by how grateful they should be to see the beautiful day. Like us, we often highlight insufficiencies and scarcities in our lives, allowing them to overshadow the infinite blessings that we experience daily. We take these precious moments for granted. What we have to do is we have to slow down externally if we are to speed up internally, so to speak. Let's take an example. When things got difficult and you came out on top in any bad situation, unfortunate situation you had in the past, what we have to do is try to be grateful for the lessons that you learn in those trying times. Having learned something, being more equipped to deal with life's eventualities, because if you didn't learn something from a difficult situation, from some kind of adversity, you weren't paying attention. You weren't even present. These are all great lessons in our lives. That these lessons make us into better people. Reflect on the worst times in your life to realize how fortunate you are now. And don't judge yourself by the standards of others. Just be grateful for you. Whomever you are, whatever you have, whatever the situation. A 2014 study published in the Journal of Applied Sports Psychology found that gratitude improves self-esteem, including those of athletes' self-esteem, which is an essential component, of course, to optimal performance. Other studies have shown that gratitude reduces social comparisons, comparing yourself to others. Instead of becoming resentful towards people who have more money or better jobs, these are things that sometimes contribute to low self-esteem in ourselves. Grateful people find themselves being able to appreciate other people's accomplishments more, according to this study. So be grateful for having given up an addiction, for example, and for a second chance in life to move on and to build a new life. We can receive Bhagwan's blessings for that. Let's take a look at a verse that helps us to understand that more. Utsaha sampanam adirgha sutram kriya vidigyam vyasane shvasaktam shuram kritigyam didaso hridam cha Lakshmi swayam yati nivasaheto. Subhashitam helps us to understand. The slok says that the goddess of wealth, Lakshmi, comes all by herself to stay with a person who is enthusiastic, utsaha, a person who is not lazy, one who is not interested in bad habits, a person who is brave, a person more especially who consistently shows gratitude. So let's try this. Take one bad thing that happened every day and try to find one area of it to be grateful for. For example, when you drive by on the highway and you see an accident, don't you feel grateful that you're safe? How many of those situations we go through every day when we have enough of a reason to be grateful, or we just move on? According to a survey done in 2017, approximately 150,000 people die every day. So when the loud alarm goes off every morning, as difficult as it is, see it as a blessing, see it as an opportunity instead of an aggravation. Because not everyone is able to respond to the sound. So let's be grateful for the sound of the alarm in the morning. Grateful people sleep better. Writing in a gratitude journal improves sleep, according according to a 2011 study. People who spend about 15 minutes jotting down a few things they're grateful for before they go to bed, they slept better and longer according to the study. And they're given the opportunity to witness yet another day, another new beginning, another opportunity to glorify God, to return a favor to someone, or to just randomly perform a good deed for someone else. Subhashitam tells us of another beautiful slok. Upakara para pravara pratyupakara karoti madhyastha nichastarapi na kurute upakarvashad bhavati shatrusa. This slok tells us that those persons who voluntarily help others are of the best category among men, whereas those persons who return the favors done towards them are in the middle category. Those people in a way express gratitude as well, and it puts them in the middle category. However, those who do not express gratitude of any kind, on the other hand, the slok says, Nichastadapi, Nich, that those people are in the lowest of the three categories. The author Aryan says that gratitude is a feeling that spontaneously emerges from within. However, it is not simply an emotion or an emotional response. It is also a choice we make. We can choose to be grateful, or we can choose to be the opposite to that, ungrateful. Bhagavan Sri Ram, having met the vulture Jatayu and receiving more bad news in the search for Mata Sita, and already in the midst of a crisis, stopped to express his gratitude for Jatayu's heroic actions by taking a bath and performing Jatayu's last rites, even though he was deprived of the opportunity to perform his own father's last rites. He could have had a bitter taste in his mouth for being deprived of his father's. He could have made a hasty decision, decided not to do it. And then he also showed gratitude to Ravan, recognizing that one of the 10 heads of Ravan, the one of a devotee, the one of knowledge, the one that made him a favorite of Shiva. Bhagavan Ram honored Ravan by instructing, by allowing, and by enabling his brother Vibhishan, his wife Mandodari, etc., to perform Ravan's last rites. And on top of that, he sent Ravan to his own abode, expressing gratitude for that 10% of good qualities that Ravan had. So usually to feel compassion for one who has wronged us or doing wrong to others is always very challenging. Many of us watch silently as others relentlessly perform good deeds every day of their lives, and we express no form of gratitude to that individual in any way, shape, or form. But regrettably, readily, we're pointing out to the one fault, the one flaw, the one faulty action he may have committed, like looking at a paper and seeing only the one black spot. There's a story of a professor who asked his students to prepare for a surprise test. He handed them out a question paper with the text facing down as usual, and then he instructed the students to begin the test. To everyone's surprise, there was no questions on the other side of the page, just a black dot somewhere around the bottom of the page. The professor said, I want you to write about what you see there. The students were confused, but they got started. They didn't know what to write. At the end of the test, at the end of the time, the professor collected the papers, and then he started reading out aloud, each one in front of all the students. All of the students, without exception, described the black dot, trying to explain its position on the paper, etc. At the end, professor said, "I'm not going to grade you on this test. All I wanted to do was to give you something to think about." No one wrote about the white part of the paper. Everyone focused only on the black dot on this large piece of paper. So isn't that true with us as well? Isn't it the same thing in our lives? Our life is a gift from God, complete and beautiful. Reasons to celebrate, but we focus on the dark spots only. Whether it be health or financial or relationship issues, disappointments in the past, etc. The dark spots are very small in comparison to all the positive things we experience every day. But the dark spots are the ones that get all the attention. So it helps to turn our vision away from the petty, the small, the negative, the little dark spots, and give recognition to the larger area, the many blessings we enjoy on a daily basis that are right in front of us, right in front of our eyes, because we all have so many things in life to be grateful for. A 2012 study published in Personality and Individual Differences magazine says that gratitude improves physical health. Grateful people experience fewer aches and pains and feel healthier than others. They took better care of their health by exercising. Gratitude also works on mental health. A study on 300 adults who were seeking counseling for depression and for anxiety were asked to write one letter per week to another person for 3 weeks. The result was much improved mental health. Another study in 2012 by the University of Kentucky says that gratitude enhances empathy and reduces aggression. That grateful people are more likely to behave in a pro-social manner, even when others behave less kind. They're less likely to retaliate against others, even when spoken negatively about or to. That they experience more sensitivity and empathy towards others and experience a decreased desire to seek revenge. Let's be reminded how we can approach this. Prathama vayasi daktam toya mulyam smaranta shirasi nihita bhara nadikela naranam salilaramita kalapam dadyurajivanantam nihikrita upakaram sadhavo vishmaranti. The slok gives us the example of a coconut tree. Remembering the small amount of water which was given to it in its early stage, in return the coconut tree carries a very heavy weight of very sweet water, nectarine water on its head throughout its life. Not only for the people who poured water on its roots when it was very small, but also for everyone else. The slok tells us that in the same manner, Nahi krita upakaram sadhavo vismaranti, that good and noble people do not forget a favor done to them. Like the coconut tree, they're always very grateful. And this is not, to practice gratitude is not something that would only benefit adults. Benefit children too. A study published in Motivation and Emotion Journal concluded that children who were more grateful than their peers at age 10 were by age 14 undertaking more community activities and were more socially integrated. That these children or these youngsters didn't just sit back and chill. They are out in the world trying to make a difference in the lives of others. Studies have shown that gratitude empowers us to take charge of our emotional lives, and as a consequence, our bodies reap the benefits. But the effects of gratitude are not limited to the physical realm only. It increases self-esteem, enhances willpower, strengthens relationships, deepens spirituality, boosts creativity, and improves athletic and academic performance according to studies. So my dear friends, like the man who changed a sign for the blind boy, let's change the way we see things. As the saying goes, when you change the way you see things, the things you see change. Every time we think of something, spend a few moments and think about a positive way to express it, a way that demonstrates our gratitude and our appreciation for everything we have. Because remember, even when we feel that our lives cannot be worse, there's someone out there who's enduring even more. So live with gratitude and watch the beauty of your life unfold right in front of you. The possibilities and the benefits are limitless. My dear friends, all it takes is a small mental shift, and the visible benefits will be in manifold ways in your everyday life. All we have to do is give it a shot. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. Radhe 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 बरसाने वाली मोरी भारी प्यारी राधे प्यारी राधे प्यारी राधे बरसाने वाली मोरी भारी प्यारी राधे हरी राधे प्यारी राधे 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 Radhe 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 बार बार बर मांग हो हर्ष देह श्रीरंग परसरो जयन पावनी भक्ति सदा सत्संग बोलो राम बोलो राम बोलो राम बोलो राम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम उमापति महादेव की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय सियावर रामचंद्र की जय शरणम प्रभु जय जय श्री राधे वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय।